Alright, the United Steelworkers of America have made it to the end of the rainbow, and only one final adversary stands between them and the pot of gold and hot stuff. And that is Alariel the Radiant, leading the Elves of Averlorn, being played by MadthiefNY. And this, of course, is your boy Benvolio, playing as Norsca in NP Peak Pass. So, let's start by taking a quick look at the United Steelworkers army here. Starting with the Lord I brought. I didn't bring Throg this time. I brought Wulfric the Wanderer. Here he is, kind of embedded with some Marauder champions. He's armored and shielded, melee expert, and duelist, so he's really good at taking out enemy lords, obviously with that Hunter of Champions and other buffs. The Fight or Die buff that Throg also has, which improves leadership and melee attack. So he's got a lot of great buffs to throw down while he's in the thick of it. I'm going to get him right in the... You want him right in the fighting because his buffs are really great for being basically right there in the other Lord space. And of course surrounding him is Marauder Champions, armored and shielded, high combat stats, 2 chevrons in those to kind of help bulk them up in the center back line. Right behind them at the very back, I'm backing everything up with the Norscan Ice Trolls. Armor piercing, frostbite, regeneration. Put 3 chevrons into them to help boost their leadership a little bit because they've got typically poor leadership, so that few chevrons should keep them in the fight a little bit longer. Just like bringing them because that frostbite effect is just great. Flanks of the back line, I have Marauder Hunters with javelins. I wasn't too worried about armor piercing because I'm more worried about armor piercing when it comes to fighting the dwarves, but these guys are anti-large, decently combatant, so in case he brought any dragons, I'd have some javelins to throw at the dragons to kind of, you know, hurt them a little bit. And they're decently combatants, so when they're out of ammunition, they come in and join the fight. So there's Marauder Champions and Wulfric again, another group of Marauder Hunter Javelins guarding the flank. On the front line, I've got Marauder Champions with great weapons. I believe one group on each flank with 2 chevrons in them to slightly buff. They're already strong stats, so they got, look at those nasty mauls and stuff. Look at that. I don't think that tickles. Yeah, so armored armor piercing, just for bringing down his elite troops. And Marauder Berserkers for damage dealers. If I can get them into spearmen or anything like that, they're going to do great work against those basic infantry. Going to chop them down. Great counter to any spearmen. Chop through those meat shields really quickly. Double axe infantry. So yeah, they're great, although they're prone to rampage. So I've got 3 groups of them. 2 chevrons in each group of berserkers, I believe. Yeah, 2 chevrons in each. And then again on the other flank, the Marauder Champs with the great weapons. And then far out in the Vanguard deployment over in the woods, my favorite units, my favorite flanking units, the Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes and the Norscan Ice Wolves, moving out and swinging out to try and see where my enemy's army is. Because when this battle opened, all I saw was Alariel. And you see the High Elves over there, but all I saw was the Eagle. I think just because of the terrain, I couldn't see over that low rise, so I had no idea where his army was. So I sent my cavalry and the wolves up around the flanks through these woods to kind of see if he's trying to hide them in this brush. You know, being sneaky elves, you know, on a fire in from the trees. But that was not the case. He was just kind of in the middle, and I just couldn't see him over the rise. So here he is deployed. Let's take a look at his army. So this is MadthiefNY rocking Averlorn. Alariel, oh no, not Avalorn, just standard High Elves as Lothern, but so High Elves use the Lothern flag, which is that blue and white thing. So he's not actually Avalorn, but he's using the Avalorn Lord, Alariel the Radiant, riding the Great Eagle. So she's a great spellcaster, a lot of positive buffs, a lot of healing, a lot of healing and otherwise positive magic for her allies, and a lot of powerful items as well to kind of boost her that. And she's actually got butterflies flying around her, if you see those. Isn't that nice? Isn't that pretty? No, she only looks classy though. She's totally ho. The Lothern Seaguard with shields directly under her. When I play High Elves, I love bringing the Lothern Seaguard with shield. They're just so versatile. They got those big shields. They've got bows and arrows, and they're decent melee combatants and also able to fire arrows. They're great. I think some of them have headbands. Some of them? Yeah, look at that. This guy's got a headband. They're just great. I like the models too. Very lovely models. So he's got one group of those with 1 chevron. I think he's got a couple more groups. Yep, Sea Guards with shields, 2 groups, Sea Guards with shields. That's the Storm Riders and Sea Guards with shields. So it's 3 groups of Sea Guards with shields. Then in the front line, the very front line, he's got a lot of Phoenix Guard. It looks like he brought a lot of anti-large. So they're armored, armor-piercing, anti-large, Mark of Assyrian. So these guys are really neat, the Keepers of the Flames, because when they die, their models will explode in flame, and you'll see a lot of like flaming kamikaze explosions as they die. It's like their weird magical seppuku. So he's brought the front line of all Phoenix Guard because I guess he saw I was playing Norsca, and Norsca got a lot of large units, although I only brought Trolls as my large unit this time. So maybe that's not the best, but they're still pretty versatile, still pretty tough, even just for fighting other infantry. So another group of standard Phoenix Guard. Again, armored, armor-piercing, anti-large, charge defense against all. That's going to be good. So they're going to be able to take any charges quite well. The Phoenix Guard here, halberd infantry, eager, encouraged by nearby units. So Alariel's actually popping an encouragement on all these units here. So kind of buffing their leadership. So he's gone kind of like really tight elite build. He's got a group of the Everqueen's Court Guards, so another regiment of renown here. Sisters of Avalorn, armor-piercing missiles, good range, decently combatant. So just nasty. You're going to want to get those out of, stop them firing as soon as possible. And Wulfric has some offensive spells to that effect, which is quite useful for that. So he's got one of the group of that, and he's got another regiment of renown somewhere, the Storm Riders. These are Lothern Seaguard, but without the shields, and he's got a pink headband. That's how you know he's special. They're special. So yeah, they're anti-large Vanguard deployment, charge events against large foes, and fire whilst moving. So they're pretty useful. Lothern Seaguard units are always quite useful. I always bring them when I've got a High Elf army. And he's got, finally, a group of Swordmasters of Hoeth. Armored, armor-piercing anti-infantry, his only anti-infantry unit, which is maybe to his disadvantage, as he had such a low anti-infantry count, and I had such a high infantry count, so maybe that was a bad thing. They're armored, armor-piercing, and they can deflect shots. They can swing smash arrows out of the air. So that's his elite High Elf army. And I don't know what's going on. I could only see Alariel floating there on the Eagle. I couldn't see the rest of his army, so I ended up going for flanking maneuvers, just to get up on top of the hills around him, and look down and spot him while I brought my wolves and cavalry. Turn that off. Oh no, turn that on. There we go. While I brought my wolves and cavalry up the side to make sure I wasn't trying anything cheeky in the woods. So here we go. So basically, it's gonna be me cautiously moving around. I just don't want to slip into any ambush. So I'm gonna get up onto flanking positions on these hills just to see what's going on. He sees that eventually, and he kind of forms a defensive geometry. So let's see. We'll watch this play out here. So there we go, bringing my troops, my army, up on to either one of these hills here. Just taking a look. We came really far away to get this pot of gold here at the Rainbow's End. We're not going to let this crazy elf hoe stop us. No. No. I come from the land of the ice and snow, from the midnight sun where the hot springs blow. Yep, so there we go. Getting up perfectly. Look at this, nice surround. And he knows what's up. So he's forming up this kind of, I like this this nice defensive pentagon with Alariel in the center to kind of boost and provide buffs. It's not a bad strategy, I think. He's covering kind of all approaches. Alariel's giving that encouragement, so improving the leadership. But here we come. He's firing into my Marauder Champions, and a group of Berserkers are the first ones into the fray, so his Lothern Seaguard with shields are firing into those. The Champions have shields, which is good, so they're able to deflect some of those arrows with their shields. Still going to do a decent amount of work on them. The Marauder Berserkers don't have shields. They would have been a much better target, but he seems to be focused on the Champions. So I'm bringing the Champions in against this group of Phoenix Guard, which he's brought out onto this side. Here we go. So here we go. The lines are meeting. Boom. Champions versus Phoenix Guard. I mean, Phoenix Guard have that bonus versus large, so not against infantry, so that's slightly good, but they're still going to be pretty tough, even against infantry. Javelins firing in against the Storm Riders because they don't have shields. Here comes old Wulfric, Daddy Wulfric. You don't want to get him stuck in any awkward position, so I kind of brought him in afterwards to kind of start doing some damage. And over here we got the Trolls coming in to collide with the Keepers of Flame. Oh, and there's a Sea Fang. Here we go. Sea Fang right through. Oh, that was beautiful. So like I said, I wanted to shut them down quick, and that was a beautiful Sea Fang. That was Wulfric's offensive spell, just macking those Evergreen's Courts guards. But Star of Avalorn, she's regenerating their health. Trolls come into contact with the Storm Riders. Now the Trolls are the unlucky ones because everything he's got, except for the Swordmasters, basically is anti-large. Everything except the Swordmasters and Alariel, sorry. So, but they do pretty good. They smash with their troll sticks, smashy, and we'll see if these are the Keepers of the Flame. So once they start getting, there we go. There's one of them bursting into flame. Ouch, chihuahua. There's another one bursting into flame because I'm firing in at them with my javelins. Because they're not shielded, that's pretty advantageous. The Marauder Berserker's engaging some of those Phoenix Guard, and this Lothern Sea Guard going down, but the Trolls are going to get done by the Phoenix Guard for sure. Wolfric, got anything? Pop Fighter dies, popped, so boosting the melee attack and leadership. Wolfric's engaged. Gonna be doing alright. He's pretty good, really, unless he's fighting, I think, really elite infantry, and he's all alone, but when he's backed up by his boys, by the other steelworkers of America, he's gonna be doing alright. He's the foreman in the steel plant. That's who he is. So my wolves and cavalry finally coming in. I think did I have the wolves in? Oh yeah, the wolves came in briefly, but I think they engaged the sword masters, but were beaten off quite soundly. Yeah, so they've both routed. They're regaining themselves. They'll be brought back in pretty soon, though. This group of berserkers rampaging into the Phoenix Guard. Javelins still firing in now. I've chosen to hit the Everqueen's Court Guards with the javelins. Try and reduce their model count even more. Limit that armor-piercing fire. One group of Ice Wolves circling around. Chasing off this. That's a pretty good choice, really. Chasing off the Storm Riders with the Wolves. Rawr, 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 making sure they don't come back. There are not many of them, but they'll still be annoying to deal with. Throwing some axes into the back of the Sword Masters of Hoeth. Maybe not the best target, because they have that deflection chance. Alariel popping another buff, Earthblood, on these troops. Oh no! Sending off my... they're gone. This group of Marauder Hunter Javelins is just gone. Marauder Champions routing off. Uh-oh. So it's looking a bit dicey here. A lot of my troops are routing. Some of these Javelins still firing, and some of these Berserkers. So this group of Marauder Champs with great weapons doing decently against the Keepers of the Flame, who are still exploding, causing damage as they explode. This group of Marauder Berserkers, I mean, alright. So it's going to take a while. But as soon as I can get into this, that's a nice juicy target. And I don't know if I had another Sea Fang. There we go. The Wolves charging in here. Putting the hurt on these Lothern Seaguard units. Ideal target for the Wolves because they are not large, so the Lothern Seaguard aren't going to have that anti-large bonus working in their favor there. I think I get another Sea Fang off, or I might have done the Sea Fang and maybe missed it now at this point, but I did get another nice Sea Fang off, which I think finished off the Everqueen's Court Guards, but unfortunately we didn't see that, which is kind of a bummer. But now we're getting into the last group of Lothern Seaguard with shields, and they're not going to be able to take too much punishment. They're not really equipped to deal with all this. They're totally surrounded now, and they're going to be routing fairly soon. Axe is still getting chucked in by the horse riders. Checking out those Phoenix Guard here. Wolfric's still doing good, still in decent health. My infantry's quite depleted, but we busted through. And there was a nice Sea Fang. Whee! Sea Fang! Flying through, macking the enemy. But yeah, the Phoenix, I think these guys are unbreakable. They're not going to go anywhere. They're just going to fight until they all explode. So yeah, let's watch them. Let's watch them explode. Explode. There's another one. Yay! He's dead. Yeah, so we're basically, now it's basically going my way from here on out. Alariel chasing off this cavalry. Should have stayed in there. Not a good idea, but now she's coming back in. Not a good idea, really. She's done. I don't know what he's thinking. He should have regrouped back here. Because Wolfric popping that 100 champions on Alariel, she gets into melee, is just gonna tool her. Yeah, so there we go. Phoenix Guard. There's two models left. No, only a few models left. No. Definitely more than two. What am I thinking? They're exploding. So now Alariel's come in. The last desperate hoorah. If I don't know what he's thinking he can accomplish here, because she's completely surrounded, getting the cold effect probably. I don't know. Yeah, unit losing. Yeah, so because she's completely outnumbered. Oh no, and I've got. He's trying to bring some units back in, but I am charging with my cavalry. Oh, the Everqueen's Court Guards. Oh yeah, no, not charging yet. I'm not. Still got some ammunition, so I'm still hucking some axes at these units that are coming out. Should have brought my other cavalry in just to kind of really wipe them out. I think I do try and do that, or maybe my wolves or something. But yeah. Yeah. Throw the axes. It's a drive-by. 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 So that's not good. Able to throw in, but now I'm bringing in a charge against this Lothern Seaguard group just to stop them from rejoining. Yeah. You know, you are not getting back in there. They're gonna be routing. I think I get the wolves out again, doing that too. That's what I love the wolves for. Oh, but they've routed. Nope. Wolfie's going. My liquid nitrogen puppies are going away, so these cavalry are just having a good old time charging into archers. Boom! Ow! Ow! Sent those guys flying. Make sure they rout off as we finish off Alarly, and that should be it. That's it, yeah, so that was a pretty... The United Steelworkers of America have conquered the end of the rainbow. They have got their can of hot stuff now, and shall forever be at peace. Unless something else happens and I want to play Norsca again. I don't know. So yeah, MadthiefNY. You know, it was a fun game. It was kind of a nice asymmetrical battle where you had like a small group of elites and I had a higher count of infantry. It was an exciting game. It was fun to win anyway. My Norscan Ice Trolls got destroyed completely by those Phoenix Guard, which makes sense. The Norscan Ice Wolves, 70 kills on that group, 32, so they did great work. I love seeing those high kill counts on those wolves. I love using the wolves properly. And then the Horsemen, 48, 72. The Javelins with 40 and 75. Marauder Champions, 34. So they all pulled their weight. They all did decent work. Wolfric got 77 kills, which is great because oftentimes a good player will be able to snipe out Wolfric really early, and you don't get to enjoy the Sea Fang and the Hunter Champions and all his cool abilities. I think he's a really cool lord. I think maybe him and Khalida are my favorite lords. He's just such a badass. But ooh, only one kill on the Storm Riders. Lothran Seaguard looking at his kills. That's not so good, buddy. 142 on the Keepers of the Flame makes sense. They're just units. 89. So his elite troops, yeah, they all did pretty good. That's why it was such an exciting game. We just basically annihilated each other, but I just overran him. I just had too many more troops, more versatility. He was kind of he had great elite troops, but he was rigid. He didn't have an answer for everything I was throwing out there. You know, if I was him, maybe I would have cut down on a Phoenix Guard or two and opted for some Illyrian archers and riders, because having a bit of cavalry there, I think, really would have helped him. But that was an exciting game anyway. United Steelworkers victorious again. Keep it real.